All right. I call the advisory committee meeting to order at 8:05 p.m. Let's see, where's my agenda? There you go. Okay, minutes. So it's just the minutes from 3/8. Sorry, I sent out the other one. The website doesn't have our minutes loaded, so it looked like we hadn't done them yet. Claire's not on, but I can take the notes. I had a couple edits. Did anybody else have anything? Let me share my screen.
Yeah, Andrew, the one I think for me on 3/8. Oh wait, sorry, hold on, I'm looking at the wrong one. 3/8. So it seemed like on line 6 there was a blank there as far as when I joined. I don't know exactly what time it was, but it was right, I think pretty early in the conversation on the personnel board. I wasn't here for the start of the personnel board, but I didn't miss the entire thing. So it was somewhere around then.
Yeah, I will. I was looking at the video earlier to check something, so I can insert the time. No worries. I'll put that in there.
Okay.
It's easy enough.
I think that was it for me.
I had a couple little typo things. Experience, newly hired. There was that one question that you had, Tim, I think, and whether that Claire had on, it was what we had on the screen, the 8040997, not what was in the warrant, but that was correct. Anybody have any other edits? I think that's all I had.
I only had a question about line 6, so that answers that.
All right, perfect. Yeah, just those format things, but that was good. That was a long meeting, so Claire did a good job. All right. Is there a motion to approve the March 8th minutes as amended?
Motion to approve.
For a second. All right. Roll call vote. Adam.
Aye.
Marcy.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Andrew is aye. Excellent. Stop sharing that. So I'm going to bring over, we have a participant in the attendees, Larry Sandberg, who Paul is planning on appointing to the committee. So I wanted to give them the opportunity to join and say hi, because I didn't know what our next one would be. But Larry, it's good to see you. And if you wouldn't mind just giving a quick overview of yourself. You're on mute.
Give me a second.
Sure.
Sure. I'm Larry Sandberg, and I believe I'm going to be joining your committee shortly. I've, from a career point of view, I've been in high tech my whole life, although I'm mostly retired now, mostly. I've been living in Southborough since 1975, so I've lived here. My kids grew up here, went to school here. I've been involved. I was one of the original members of the Municipal Technology Committee, and am still on that, at least for another couple of weeks. And I'm looking forward to becoming part of the advisory committee now.
Welcome.
And so I grew up with Larry's son.
I also coached youth baseball for a number of years, including some little kid called Andrew Pfaff.
Yep, he was my baseball coach many years ago. But it'll be great to have you, and we'll still have one opening. So if anybody else knows one other person to fill that spot, but Larry, welcome aboard. Once Paul finally signs his paperwork, and he can appoint you.
Right? Yeah, he promised me the paperwork. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Paul hasn't been sworn in yet as moderator, so he can't.
I guess I have to come first.
He was traveling and hasn't made that done yet, but great. All right, thanks,
Welcome
Larry.
aboard.
Thank you.
All right. Repair report, meeting schedule. I don't have anything planned right now, but I figured in this meeting, if we wanted to talk about any kind of summer topics that we wanted to research or things we wanted to do in the off season that we always talk about in the busy season that we don't have time for, excuse me. We could talk about that today and see if we want to schedule them where. But I figured a couple meetings this summer would be nice to kind of get ready for the busy season. Maybe, you know, does anybody have any topics now that they think they might want to cover off?
I don't remember some of the ideas that we've come up with before.
Yeah, we talked about CPC before. We did that last year, which hopefully, you know, the select board will bring to the fall town meeting or to the ballot in the spring. We talked about revolving accounts.
Right.
Um,
Did we talk about sort of having some sort of outline of all the different funding sources for some of the committees we visit, Andrew? Like, I forget what we were saying, like, you know, the Youth and Family Services, Council on Aging, like kind of getting ahead of,
yeah,
you know, knowing where all the funding is coming from. So we're not, you know,
I was-
particularly for new members and sort of having an outline. I
Mhm.
think that
That's
was
a
one of the
good idea.
topics.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe we could review some other towns' budget books. Like I know when I went to that town finance committee meeting, the guy from Northborough who is leaving, talked about how like he has all the employees, even if they're not general fund, if they're paid for by a grant or, you know, they're contractors. Like, I think there's some general data that we're kind of missing in terms of, you know, whether the advisory does it or it should be done more by, you know, Mark's office or something, but maybe we can review some budget books or other budget processes and see where we want to make some improvements. But I think, yeah, to your point, knowing one, all the employees of the town, all their salary information and where that comes from, the alternative funding sources, and kind of getting that full view of the budget. And we can just look through and see what items in other people's budget books or budget processes, budget calendar too. I mean, I think a lot of other towns kind of start a little bit earlier and have a more robust calendar. So maybe we can review their budget calendar. Good idea.
Yeah, I like that idea that you bring up, Marcy. That would be really helpful during the budget review process to know what the alternative funding is, and even on not just the alternative funding, but when the grants are going to expire or for how long they are. That's all helpful.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always a missing piece. The other thing I was thinking maybe is, like, I remember that meeting that we had in January where we had some discussion where it felt like some of the groups weren't quite ready, like they're not that their proposals were half baked, but where they just weren't quite buttoned up yet. And it happened 2 years ago or even longer than that with the Board of Health, I think, where they had some things that, so maybe there's sort of a meeting where we have an opportunity to look at some of those again.
Yep.
And see if either they've come further along or just have a discussion on how to bring them further along.
Maybe it would be worth it to have with the new select board, maybe like a joint meeting to talk about strategy. Right? What do they see coming down the pipe, and that we can get ahead of some things, or you know, regionalization of, or the water department, IMA and, certain things like that, but just kind of talk about, because they talk about their goals for the year. And I think
Yeah, I like
it'd be kind
that.
of interesting to dovetail into, because a lot of those have financial components, so maybe even
Strategy
having
summit.
because they have like a select board goal and then they have a select board member that's like assigned to that. Maybe for some of them, we could have a advisory member joint.
I like that idea.
Okay. I'll mention that to Kathy. All right.
Andrew, I don't know that it's something we want to tackle, but I did notice when I first joined advisory, I just did look it up. I think it's still there. For example, Wayland, the town of Wayland has a finance committee handbook. It probably is related to my my government work where everything is sort of outlined and what certain things, certain committees' functions are, charter, and I'm going to go back and look at that and see if I think that would be of help at all. Maybe for, either new members or for the community to understand what advisory does. Because I don't think that there's a big understanding on that sometimes, even from,
Yeah.
I'm still feel like I'm new, so I'm still learning myself.
There is a generic, and it
Is
might
there?
be the one that's on their website. That's the finance committee handbook, right? And that's
Okay.
done by the MMA, I think it is.
Maybe,
Might be the
maybe.
one that they have on their website, but to
Okay.
that point, maybe we post on. Maybe that's another one, advisory website. I was looking the other day.
Yeah, I saw
It's
that.
brand new. I looked to see if everything migrated over, and there's a
Yeah,
lot of stuff on there that maybe we don't need anymore.
right. Yeah, the homepage or whatever it's called. Yeah.
And maybe we update it, maybe we put some more things on there, especially now that we don't have ClearGov anymore, so, the regular citizenry can't really get in there and, find as much financial information as they used to.
Yeah.
The other one I was thinking about is, I think it's the DLS does like a financial overview of towns. It'd be something that the select board would have to, I'll have to find the wording for it, but it's a publications. There we go. Like different towns can ask them to come in and assess their town, and they come up with like they review processes and policies and controls and all these kinds of things. Might not be a bad idea for at this point in time to maybe have ask the select board to see if they'd be willing to come in. But we could talk about the different state analysis.
If we're coming up with another calendar for the year, I don't know what people thought of the Saturday meeting with select board, but I thought that was very efficient, and
Yeah.
if we're voting whether or not to do that again, I would
Yeah, I was talking
be for that, but
somebody the other day, and I think it sounded like they liked it as well. So I think probably keep that again.
yeah.
I think they were saying that maybe we don't need as many people,
Mhm.
Especially for the budgets that were not as contentious.
Mhm.
Another one is one of the other town meetings, which was an interesting concept, was they put anything that advisory and select board voted in favor of in the consent agenda. Which would be I mean, that's up to Paul to decide, but I think that would be an interesting concept too, of just streamlining town meeting, but a little bit of a departure to how we do it today.
It's an interesting thought, but could save time for sure.
That might be one of those things that if we had a joint meeting with select board to bring up. Okay. All right, I think that's a good start for now. So that'll get us in terms of if our next meeting from scheduling perspective. What do people think in terms of calendar wise?
I can't do the first week of June. I know that.
Right.
That's traveling
The-
for work. So that's the only thing I have right now that I
like
can't
that
do.
that week of the 5th.
Yes.
Okay.
Calendar.
And the 31st that's the week of Memorial Day, which I could do the 31st, or we could do the 14th.
I could do either of those. Yep.
Yep, those both look okay.
Why don't I put the 31st and the 14th on? Because usually, at least for me, like the end of the summer, mid-July through August is usually a little bit more busy than June. So,
Sounds good.
well, Adam will keep the meetings while school's still in session. All right, so I'll put one out there for the 31st and the 14th. 7:30. Does that work, Adam, or is 8 better?
8's better for me, but I can make 7:30 work, but yeah, 8's better for me.
You shouldn't be. Marcy, does that work?
I mean, if the meetings aren't going to go that late,
I don't think they're going to be too late. I mean, we'll try to keep it to an hour and a half if we can.
Yeah, so 8 shouldn't be too bad, hopefully, for people.
All right, I can do 8.
8 is fine, as with that time frame. I think it works.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
I don't know if you heard Marcy, but Howard had a flat tire in his car. So I said, I think we'll still be okay with quorum. So
Oh no, too bad. He'll make it next time, I'm sure.
yes. All right. All right. So I think that's some such good subjects to talk about. Next up is the discussion and vote on increasing the inspection service revolving account. And so I think you all saw the memo there. It's basically the building inspector is not paid out of salary. We have a contractor, so they're going to go over in that line item. So it's basically increasing it that revolving account one time to pay for that person, but net it shouldn't impact anything because we're down in salaries.
Hey, Andrew, before we go into that, I was just looking at my email, and it looks like Claire sent an email saying that she can't access the meeting.
Okay,
She may be trying.
Let me send it to her. It's like her own private meeting. All right, just sent it to her. So does anybody have any questions on that inspectional service request? And I think it was to go from 100,000 to 140,000.
And is this a temporary?
It's just through June 30th.
Okay, and then is there discussion on what the next phase of this will be? And
They should be either hiring the person or at fall town meeting, I would assume that they would ask for an increase there.
Okay.
You mean it's temporary?
So this is a one-time increase to the spending limit. They have to go to town meeting for a permanent one.
Got it. Okay.
So like this is like we've done before with the rec revolving or whatever. It's just it gets them through the current fiscal year, and then they have to go to town meeting for a final one, approved one.
Gotcha.
All right, is there a motion to approve an inspection services spending limit increase from 100,000 to 140,000 through June 30th, 2023?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All right, Adam,
Aye.
Marcy,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
and Andrew is aye. All right, thank you. And the other one was for the golf course revolving fund, which we already voted to increase once.
Yeah.
And if you guys saw the reasoning, it just sounds like they did the paving work, or they can do the paving work earlier. So instead of it being a next year expense, it's a this year expense, but they have the money to pay for it.
Andrew, was there an email on that one? I actually didn't see that.
I think so.
I probably missed it, but I was just
Yeah,
going to try to get caught up real quick.
Forward it again, just to make sure.
I remember the first one.
Yeah, I'll just put the memo up on the screen. Let's see here. So it's basically, instead of spending it next year, they moved it up early.
Yeah. Okay. And did the first round of improvements, what did that end up coming in right at budget, I guess?
I don't know for sure. I think the work's already been done, but I saw
Yeah.
some of them working on the thing. They actually paved the parking lot already, which
Oh, they did.
yeah, that was I was a little surprised that they paved it, even though we haven't. The select board already approved it, so they're just kind of waiting on ours. Now I don't love
Okay.
the thing, but they probably just figure out how to spend it at a ARPA or something separately.
Okay. So then what, I guess, just walk me through the mechanics of this then. So if they've already done it, they just haven't paid for it, I suppose?
Correct.
Okay.
So they just basically need to get it approved so they can basically pay the bill.
Got it. Okay.
But I mean, they're not overspending the account, so it's just basically moving it from 1 year earlier, which people can use it all summer now. So I don't really have I would rather them do it earlier than later anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like now it'll be done in time for the full season, so everyone will actually benefit from it.
Exactly. All right. And the motion is. So is there a motion to approve a golf course revolving fund spending limit increase to $150,000 through June 30th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, Adam,
Aye.
Marcy,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Andrew is aye. Excellent. And the next one on the agenda is the fire department reserve fund transfer, basically for the grant matching funds, which I was talking to Brian and Chief Achilles today, is actually for FY24. So we can hold off that until another meeting. But I figured we might as well talk about it. But I mean, it's on the capital plan, I think, for next year. So if we can get a grant, I think it was for $300,000, and if we can get a grant that pays all but 30,000, I think that's definitely worth doing. But what the other thought is, so it has to go through capital to get vetted, and also whether or not we could just wait till fall town meeting and just procure the funds through there. So if we did take a vote on it, I basically would phrase it as a backstop if other funding sources couldn't be made available, like either in their budget or going to a fall town meeting. But I certainly want to lose out of $300,000 or $270,000 for $30,000 match.
Yeah, so I wanted to make sure I was reading that right. So for no more than 35,000, we get awarded a portion of this $1.2 million grant for 300,000.
Correct. And it's already on the capital plan. So if it's not here, then it's, general fund or ambulance fund or some other funding source. So I definitely think it's worth moving forward. I think it's just understanding the mechanics of where the 35 comes from at what point in time. And if it's an FY24, I don't know if we can. I think we would need to wait till FY24 to vote on it.
So I don't know how these grants work, but it seems like too good to be true. Like, why would we not? What would be a reason not to do this, I guess?
I think the only reason not to do it, and I completely think we should do it, is like we've gotten into trouble in the past of doing grants for things that maybe we shouldn't be doing altogether. But this is certainly something that the equipment for the fire department is needed. It's on the capital plan.
Yeah.
I'd rather get a 90% off discount than to pay 100%.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
fire,
no, it seems like a no-brainer.
correct me if I'm wrong, but fire and police chiefs usually do a great job with their grants and following through.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot of issues with those ones. Maybe the hovercraft, but all right. So I'll postpone the vote on that, but it sounds like we're all in favor of supporting it. If it comes to a reserve fund transfer, which maybe it won't, I think we can absorb 35,000. I'm not too worried about that. All right. Any other business properly brought forth? Oh, Claire's here. We can bring Claire over just to say hi.
So am I the only one who had a problem trying to get in?
If you clicked on the actual email that we get because we're in the committee, it worked fine. But yeah, the one on the website, I think they're having a bunch of website issues, Claire. So
They are.
I'll chop it
yeah.
up to that. But
They are. I talked to Jim Haggerty today.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of issues. Is anybody taking a look at the new website?
took a brief look. I haven't
Briefly.
dug into it. We were talking about now that I finally looked at the advisory one, we should probably update some of the stuff that's out there from 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, and the other problem is that anything that regarding the minutes, anything that I sent to Kate after March 17th, she posted, it was on the old website, but it did not get carried. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, they didn't merge the code bases efficiently enough.
Well, nothing was going to be updated after, essentially they froze it, so to speak, as far as additions in the middle of March.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
I think
Okay. Yeah. We'll just resend them.
That's really just temporary. I think the goal is that everything that's been posted for the last 3 years will eventually show up on the site. So I suspect it's mostly just teething issues at this point.
Yeah. And Claire, you missed the beginning of our meeting. Larry, who's currently on MTC, is going to hopefully be joining us soon on advisory. So we invited him to partake in our meeting.
So did I miss anything with minutes?
we covered the minutes. There wasn't too many things. I wrote them down. I'll send it to you,
Okay.
but nothing major. Just a
Thanks.
couple Scribner's errors.
Okay.
And then we're pretty much get to the point of wrapping this up.
Hey, yeah.
So Claire, I think we're going to try to set a meeting for the 31st and the 14th. Just to cover off on
First
some
of May,
May 31st and then June
June
14th.
14th. Okay.
Just go over some summer topics and housekeeping items. And try to get as much of that done before we get into more of the schools get out and everybody kind of disappears for the summer.
Advise summer vacation.
Exactly. All right. Anybody have anything else? All right. Public comment. Larry, I think you all set.
Yeah, good.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Adam,
Aye.
Marcy,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
and Andrew is aye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you. Good
Bye.
night.
Great night.
Bye.